So welcome everyone to this Agile Master class. So now this class is going to be a little bit different than you guys expected. The reason we actually ask a certified program manager to come here and basically share his input because we will design the class along that way. And that is what Agile is. The basic nature behind Agile is adaptive in nature. What do I mean by adaptive in nature? You see, 90% of the product that we do in any organization, they are basically a plan is made and then we follow the plan extensively. But those who work in an agile environment, they know the fact that agile is all about change, how the change will happen, and as we are moving forward, how the change will be executed. We are seeing some questions in PgMP for every single student who have given exam after the updated exam, that is 11th of March. They have seen some of the questions regarding agile in their exam. So let's talk directly to the person, one of the guy who cleared. Azim Saab, can you share some of the things that you saw regarding agile in your exam?
Okay, so I think there were like around 6 to 7 questions that I remember regarding Agile, but they were not like too much intensive. Like I remember there was a question about what is retrospective. So that is basically user stories that you, and there was one question about user stories. And then there was one question regarding lessons learned, that the product owner is conducting some review meetings. So what such meetings are called? So that is basically a sprint in which you basically design for 2 to 4 weeks, and then you see that what improvements can you do in the future to optimize your schedule or lessons learned. It was basically mix of lessons learned versus this user stories review meeting, something like that.
Okay, that is.
And then
Basically, what he's saying, it's all about the Scrum ceremonies. All the Scrum ceremonies is there. What else, Azim sir?
and then there was like it was basically aimed that how can you improve the previous session. So I think there was one question that as a program manager, you are conducting some review sessions, and one of the in one of the sessions, you find out that how you can improve in the future. So such stories are called user stories. And so there was something hint. So basically, I remember 4 to 5 terms: user stories, retrospective, product owner, and Scrum. So these are basically 4 to 5 terms which were covered in the whole examination.
Okay.
But they were not like too much deep. He was just asking about the basic concepts and related terms. So this is what I remember.
That is good. That is good. Thank you very much for that. So basically, what we are saying that, and the same feedback we are getting from other students, Agile is slowly coming. So you don't need to be an Agile expert. Some of you are, I know that. So you don't need to be the Agile expert for that, but understanding of the basic Agile,
Yes, basic terms should be clear.
basic terms, if you know that, then that will be
That's enough.
yeah,
Enough,
that.
yes.
So what we are going to do in this session,
Amir, in addition to what Mr. Azim just said, I have few other terms also that were coming in the exam. It's better that I spell it out.
please.
Backlog review. This is another term
Okay.
that is coming.
Okay.
In agile programs, how benefits are identified and prioritized. What is the difference about the resource prioritization? Resource prioritization and interdependency in agile. We know from PgMP that whenever there is a dispute, there is a resource prioritization, and whenever we can manage, it is interdependency. Then Scrum of Scrum.
Okay.
Scrum of Scrum. Then minimum viable product, MVP.
Okay.
This is one question coming.
Okay.
And
If you
yes.
okay.
Leadership styles.
Leadership styles. A leadership style is a normal PMP term.
Yeah.
It's basic
But
for
the two students got this question. The option was transformational, charismatic, lesser fries, and servant leadership. So, but I think the servant leadership is coming actually from Agile.
yeah, servant leadership is kind of a mentality now the PMI is following. More of a
Yes.
mentality. It's not just agile that we will look. Okay, so let's start with like some of you students have studied agile in your PMP. Some of you are working in agile, right? So let's start with first of all, the what is your understanding of agile, right? What is your basic understanding of agile and how does the agile say? So we will be looking from the lens of PMI because you see there are multiple standards that we have for agile. We have Scrum ORG, we have SAFe, but we will be looking from the lens of PMI, right? We'll be going to the lens that how PMI look towards the agile, what agile is. Okay, so okay, I'm allowed to share the screen. That is great. Okay, so these are the list that basically Mr. Sami mentioned here. So we will go to that list once we are done with that, and probably everything will be covered. The biggest difference between if we talk about different life cycles are once we have predictive life cycle and if we have agile. I'm sorry, my drawing and my writing is not as good as Mr. Sami. Yeah, everyone tried very well. Those who have studied PMP with me, they know that yeah, this is something, it is what it is. So bear with me. This is normally what happens in a predictive environment. When you are talking about a normal program, your scope is fixed. On the basis of scope, you get your schedule. That is your time, right? And then on the basis of this, this is cost. This is a normal predictive project, plan-driven project. The normal project we do. Agile work in a little bit inverted triangle, what we say. Agile basically says that, okay, that is good, but scope can be changed. Time is fixed and cost is dependent on the time. Cost is dependent on the time. Agile works on time boxing. Time boxing. So basically, you fix your time and it revolve around in that pattern. The time is fixed and things works into that. Second important concept of Agile is that we work on progressive elaboration, also known as rolling wave planning or adaptive planning. So what do I mean by that? You plan at high level as a big picture. As you move forward, you plan it in more detail, right? We don't have to have the entire plan at our hand in the start with every single detail. No, no, no. Agile welcome change. We will discuss in a while the four values or mindset of Agile. Agile welcome change. So when we are welcoming the change, we are looking from a different context into it. So basically, whenever the change is there, Agile says, okay, give me the change. We plan at high level. Let's say, if I put it there, we made a Agile charter. Okay, we make a Agile charter. We have a start date. Let's say it's 1st of January, and we have a end date, 31st of December. The high level picture. Agile says, okay, that is the high level picture. Okay, giving us the overall roadmap into it. Then it divides the entire project into release. You can consider if your project is of program projects is of 1 year, release is of 1 quarter. Let's say your program is of 4 years. Normally, the program that PMI is asking you must have managed if you are a certified PMP 4-year program, right? So let's say there's a year program.
Yes.
It's 1 year. Okay, let's take 1 year program. 1 year has 4 release. Release one, just like the quarters. One release is equal to 1 quarter. Okay. We plan at the release level, what the release will be. But Agile says that release is still is a high level. So we divide the release into further into iterations, which is also known as sprint. Iteration is also known as sprint for the context of this class. Iteration means keep on doing the same thing, also known as sprint. So what is sprint? Let's say your 1 year is equal to 52 weeks as well as 4 quarter and 12 month. These are all classification we use in our planning, right? 1 year is equal to 365 days, 12 months, 52 weeks, right? And then 4 quarter. So similarly, if we said release is 1 quarter, iteration can be 1 week, that is 1 week, or it can be 4 weeks. It ranges from 1 week to 4 week. That is the length of iteration. Normally, since 1 week is very small and 4 week is too much, right? Since iteration can be 1 week up to 4 week. Normally, what do we say? Let's keep it 2 weeks. But there is no fix. Some organization does 1 week. Some organization does 2 week. Some organization does 3 week, and some of them do for 4 weeks. So whatever works for you. Normally 2 weeks is recommended. Why? You can easily divide. Normally months are 4 week. You can easily divide the entire release into two weeks. Okay. So let's say we have taken 2 weeks of iteration. Everybody so far with me? Malik? Vanita?
Yes, fine.
Yes, yes, perfect.
Yeah, good. Said Mustafa, I hope that makes sense, Feroz. So
Yeah.
now we have taken the entire product and the entire program is divided into two weeks of iteration or sprint. Clear to everyone? Now this is what we have done. This is called progressive elaboration or rolling wave planning. We plan at high level, then we plan at detail. We don't know right now what we are going to do in iteration. We have no idea. We only know we have agile charter, that is high level requirement is there. Okay. For example, Vanita, when you joined the program, you had a high level plan that you wanted to clear PgMP. You had a deadline. Remember, you gave on the first day, okay, this is the start day. I'm starting today and this is my deadline. We worked into that and it was progressive elaboration. As we move forward, we got those things done, right? So that is step by step, step by step, step by step. We are moving. That is progressive elaboration or rolling wave planning. Now we have made sprints. Okay. In Agile, we say that, okay, that is good, but I don't want that my progress is given to me at the end of iteration. No. End of iteration is called iteration review. When the client actually come and review it. I don't want it. I want to share progress on daily basis. I want to share progress on daily basis. The Agile is centered on this principle that we need to have a transparent environment. Transparency, adaptability. So what they do, we need to be transparent. So we have daily stand-up, also known as daily scrum, progress sharing meeting, whatever you want. And most of you have that in your organization in one way or another, progress sharing meeting. But Agile wanted in a structured way. What do I mean by that? It says same time, same location, same time, same location, only 15 minutes. That's it. And only progress sharing, no detailed discussion. Let's say there are 10 people and everyone start discussing their problems in detail. We cannot do that. So we need a structure here. So what we do, 15 minutes, every single person will give their what you did yesterday, what you are going to do today. is there any roadblocks, impediments, issues, problem, anything that is stopping to you? We are just highlighting it. Let's say we will note it down, and that person, and maybe Mr. Sami can solve it, he will have a follow-up meeting with him. Or Sabir can solve it, he will have a follow-up meeting. Not everyone need to sit for that. This is very important. 15-minute, same time, going to do today. Is there any roadblocks improvement? Am I clear? We did
Yes.
so far? Yeah. We went from high level to down. Now this is called daily stand-up. Now this is the step and mindset on which agile is made. Four values, 12 principles. When principles are actually extension of values, so values are most critical. The four values of agile. The first value of agile is, you can say that these four values, four pillars of agile. And these four values are counter to what you study in the predictive environment. The first value says that customer collaboration over contract negotiation. What do I mean by that? Contract is important, but collaborating with the customer, working with the customer, providing the need to the customer is most important. Providing what customer says. So when we say that customer is always right, that is what agile is saying. What do I mean by that also? I guess I'm trying to say that we are looking for long and not for short. We are taking a long-term perspective, because if the customer is happy, if the customer is satisfied, then that's how your business grows. In any business. So customer collaboration over contract negotiation is the first value. Contract is still important. It's not that it's not important, but the second value adds to this value, respond to change or following plan. Now this basically helps you to understand more what does the first value mean. That anytime if the change is there, anytime a change is requested, what do we need to do? We need to handle that change. We need to accept that change. We will go that in detail, how changes are handled in Agile, but whenever the change is requested, we welcome that change. We welcome that change. We don't want to say, no, this change is not important. No, first we will get that change, welcome it, see how we can work into that. And maybe it is important. Maybe you think it's not important, but it may be important to the most important person in your organization. And that is customer. And that is customer. Okay, now third one actually adds value to the first two value. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Now this one, the working software over comprehensive documentation. This principle, this value goes to the important thing. Whatever works, ship it. Whatever work, ship it. You see, most of the time we are waiting for perfectionism. Agile is strongly against that. In Agile, we discuss a concept. The concept is called minimum viable concept. Minimum viable concept. Now, what do I mean by minimum viable concept? Minimum viable product we met their feedback, and improve on it. Make something, give it out to the customer, get their feedback and improve on it. Minimum viable product have only the most important feature of your product, not more, not less. For example, if I talk to you about the phone, so what are the most important features of this phone, of any phone? Vanita, what do you think? What are the most important feature of a phone?
Agility.
Okay, mobile phone.
Microphone
Mobile
and head and speaker. We don't need
Yeah. In order for a phone, it should be able to call, message. Okay. So whatever the minimum requirement, calling feature, messaging feature, maybe now it depends, but these are the key features. The customer will decide what are the key features. Maybe a photographer, a cameraman is buying iPhone. For him, the requirements, maybe they don't need to for a call. They don't need it. Possible, no? Like they may not need it. So minimum viable product has the features that are the most important features for the customer. We don't wait for the entire thing. We make it out something, give it to the customer and get a feedback from them. That is minimum viable product. We release it out and we keep improving that. Working software over comprehensive documentation. So the first two values were about customer. Third value was about product. The fourth value is about team. Now, Agile is very focused on team because here we have self-organized team. What do I mean by self-organized team? That team is not like masons. That team is here, the educated workers who know how to do that. They are the expert of it. Like Agile work on a principle in a kind of a way, what Steve Jobs said, that we hire smart people so that they can tell us what to do. That is the behind concept of that. So the fourth value in Agile is individual and their interaction. Individual and their interactions over processes and tools. So what does that mean? Okay, how the processes are important, the tools which you are using, they are important. We are not saying that they are not important, but the human, how the humans are working, that is more critical. How the humans are progressing, that is more critical to our product. That is more important to us. These are the four values of Agile. Are we clear about four values? Any value that is not clear? Because that is the most important thing in Agile. Now, let's go to the 12 principles are actually extension of four values. They are kind of same values in a different way. Okay? They are same values in a different way orientation. So these are the four values that we discussed. I'll give you these slides. Okay. Then the 12 principle. The 12 principle, I put it on the above highlighted. We want to satisfy the customer. We welcome change. And this one, very important. Give delivery incrementally. What does incremental mean? So if any one of you watched any of the seasons, Game of Thrones, Money Heist, you get one episode, one season. After 1 year, you get another one, another one. That is incremental. Okay, so in Agile, we continuously need delivery one by one, one by one. We call it cadence. That continuous frequent delivery is there. That's what we need in Agile. Oh, now, as I said, team is very critical. In Agile, we want co-located team as much as possible. Yes, virtual team, hybrid team is the name of the game today. But we believe when we have a face-to-face conversation, that build trust, and that helps to business people, team to develop into a better way. One of the job of a program manager, project manager, both job is to build an environment where people can trust you. That's very critical. We discussed it before that we have high professional, highly paid professional, intelligent people. If you don't give them a good environment where they can grow, then that will be a problem. Okay, so we need to trust them, support them. We discussed whatever we get done is important. A very critical thing in Agile is iteration is of same length. We don't change the length of iterations. Like what was the length? We discussed 2 weeks. So the entire project, it will be 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, because we want a sustainable progress. We don't want up and down and up and down. No, that is not needed. Agile, we have daily stand-up. One of the purpose of daily stand-up is continuous attention to detail, making sure quality is according to our standards. That's a very. We want to use Pareto principle. What is Pareto principle? Pareto was given by Victor Pareto. It says that focus on important thing, and we will discuss now after this principle. The most important thing in Agile is prioritization. Every single time we are working only on the most important. What is most important thing? We work on them. The teams are self-organizing team. And what Mr. Azim was saying, one of the key principle of Agile is that at the end of every iteration, iteration is also called a sprint. At the end of every iteration or sprint, the team sit together, discuss how we can improve the next sprint. That is called retrospective. Retrospective. Important thing because you got a question on it. Retrospective, how we can improve it, how things can be improved. Retrospective, very critical for Agile. Now, we discuss 4 values of Agile. We discuss 12 principles of Agile. Agile has multiple practices in it, like Scrum, Kanban, etc., etc. But the most important that you see, you will be saying in your exam is Scrum. Scrum is a methodology that is used all over the world, and it's simple to understand how things work. Scrum is just like team, and team is working into that way. We will discuss Scrum. Scrum has basically 3 roles. Scrum has 3 roles in it. What do I mean by roles? We have development team. The purpose of the team or the development team is to execute the work. They will be responsible to do the work. Okay. They know how to complete a work. They are expert of it. They have full authority. Then Scrum Master, which can be your Agile program manager. In case of Scrum, you can be program manager, or you can call it project manager, whatever the phase you have in your hand. And the third one, product owner. Product owner is like a business analyst in your program. He is the one who identify the business requirement. He is a voice of, he's a part of your team, but he's the voice of customer. So when I say voice of customer, it means he defines what is the most valuable thing. Take it from the customer and he define what is the most valuable thing today. Not 2 weeks back, right now, in this sprint. So 3 roles: product owner, Scrum Master, and development team. Are we clear about them?
Yes, that's
Okay. Malik, Vanita, Firoz, Vinu, Mustafa.
So I mean, it means that if in the exam
Yeah,
clear.
the question comes that
Yes,
the program manager has to interact with which of the following key role in order to keep the customer satisfied. something like that.
Hmm.
So in that case, the correct answer will be the product owner. If it is an agile topic, and we have to listen to them, what is the voice of the customer, like you said?
That's a very interesting question. If the question says you are working in a scrum of scrum,
Hmm.
scrum of scrum mean program. Scrum as a one, scrum is a small project, 12 team members. When we talk about scrum, it is multiple projects aligned together. Okay, if the question says you are working in a scrum of scrum,
Hmm.
which is in other words, agile program. Okay, so in that you are a scrum master.
Okay.
Okay, you need to interact to understand the status of the program. You need to discuss with the scrum master. Okay, you need to discuss the scrum master. If you need to discuss what is most valuable right now, you need to discuss with the product owner.
Hmm.
And if you want to know how much time it will take, which way we will use to complete something, then we need to talk to team members.
This point is very
Okay,
important.
so
Minimum two straightforward questions, like you said, if you want to know about the minimum viable product. So that with whom the program manager or scrum master is talking to. This was a question that one of our student got. So that is the correct answer, product owner, right? If you have to see
yeah,
what is the minimum viable product.
what is value right now? We need to go for the value. Now let's go a little bit depth into that. Let's take it one important thing in predictive, in normal program, we have requirements, right? We want to do this. In Agile, those requirements are called as user story. Requirement from the perspective of user, so we called it user story. Okay. So there's a way to write down the user story as I have written it here, something I was doing before the class. On sticky notes, we write down on sticky notes the user stories, and we use this context into it. The context we use is as a user, whoever is, let's say it's Amer, I want to deliver agile class to my PgMP student so that they can answer any agile question. That's one user story. That's one user story, right? For example, if I'm starting the program management course again, okay, if me, Mr. Sami will sit together, we will get a thousands of user stories. Let's say Sabir Saab is a sponsor. He has selected me as a product owner. I'm a product owner. Mr. Sami is a scrum master. All of you are a development team. We sit together. We need to make a program management training course. What we will get a user story. We need a exam content outline. That's user story. We need a simulator. We need more questions. We need all those things. So we get a user story, user stories. So once you have all the user story, list of all user story are placed in one document that is called product backlog. One document. It has all the user stories. List of all user stories are in one document. It is called product backlog. Product backlog. Am I clear to everyone? What is product backlog?
Yes.
List of all
User
user
stories.
stories. All user stories. Okay, now we have gotten all the user stories. Not all user stories are same. Some are important, some are less important, right? Who will define what is important and what is not?
Product owner.
Yeah, but how? How he can define? He's the voice of a customer. He's not the customer. He will go to customer, he will go to sponsor, and he will ask them, hey, what is important to you? What is the number one thing that you value? Good. Number two, number three, number four. What is the most valuable thing? We love to use a technique that is called Moscow. Must have, should have, could have, would likely to have, but maybe next time. There are multiple techniques that can be used for prioritization, multiple techniques, but the most used technique is Moscow. Let's list down what are the most important features. For example, let me ask you, and you guys can put in the comment. Today is 3rd of May. You got your salary. What is the must thing you are going to do with that? The number one priority for your salary. What you are going to do?
Know your expenses.
Which expense? Not all expense, I say. Which expense? That is a must. Now you have to think. That is called prioritization.
Food, rent, utilities. That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah. Okay. Now this changes.
Utilities, then
Yeah.
groceries, and then
Yeah. Everything is different. Now, like for example, if somebody got sick, the number one thing will be medical bills, right? It supersede over your everything else. Okay. And then, like for example, for me, the first thing is always paying salaries to all team members, right? Because if you're running organization, you also need to send them. That's the first thing I try to do on first. Then, of course, rent, grocery. So that is must thing. Once you have done all the must things, rent, utility, groceries, then what you do? Should think. Okay, I should get this thing. This is important for me. I should get this thing. This is important. Must have, should have, could have. Okay, this is done. I still have some money. Let's do that. Okay. And finally, would likely to have, but maybe next time. There are always something that you want to buy, but you are out of money, or you don't have budget for that, and you plan it the next time. Okay, next time we'll see. Okay, so Moscow must have, should have, could have, would likely to have, but maybe next time. Okay, so would likely to have or won't have, both comes the same. We can use different type of techniques in it, but Moscow is the most used techniques. Most used technique is Moscow. Now we get product backlog prioritized by high value. High value. Now the team will come. We said it before. Team is the one who decide how to do the task. So they will be the one who will identify the risk in the task. They will identify risk in each user story. And now we will reprioritize our product backlog by high risk. Value is number one priority, but risk is along it. Now you may say, why high risk? Let's say you are starting a product, and that is an impossible product. That is not possible. Don't you want to know it in the start immediately by spending less money instead of knowing it after 6 months, and you have spent money, resource, and you find out, okay, now that is not feasible, right? And that is why we use minimum viable product. We immediately send to the customer, get the feedback, and improve on it. For example, what Apple did with Vision Pro, I would consider it as a minimum viable product, MVP. It's nothing more than that. They get the feedback, and probably, maybe, if we know Apple, they may improve in the next iteration. If they don't, they will be out of market. It's straight as it, right? That is the power of minimum viable product. And you cannot know that till you put it out to the market. Let's take the Apple Vision Pro for those who know it. How many of you have used it at least one time? Anyone? Apple Vision Pro, the Apple glasses. Okay, so this is the Apple glasses is a VR technology that you uses. It takes the VR things, but it is so, I used it. It was so heavy, just like this Apple headphone. I love them because design is beautiful, but after 30 minutes, you start having pain in your head. The purpose of headphone is, like Mr. Sami is using, like Mohit is using right now, that all the day you can wear it. But if after 30 minutes, minimum viable product as a problem. to improve. You got my high value, high risk. So our product backlog is ready. So far, what we have discussed 4 values of Agile, 12 principles of Agile. We have discussed roles, product owner, Scrum Master, team, that is called development team. We have discussed Scrum of Scrum. We have discussed progressive elaboration, how we move into that. We discussed Moscow technique. Any confusion in that?
Yeah, very good.
Amir, one question. In program, why we initiated the program was to get the benefits. Okay, and we asked from the stakeholders, like a customer is also my stakeholder. I put it into the benefit register, then I prioritize them. What are my benefits? I analyze them, and then I work on that. If I want to correlate between the benefits and the user stories, product backlog with benefit register, does it make the linkage the same?
I would say that almost the same thing, because benefit register, you can say that benefits register is your product backlog, right? And of course, if you get a benefit register, it should be prioritized.
Yes,
right?
clear.
It
You cannot
should be
get everything in the same time.
We cannot get everything. We have to prioritize it, and then we need to know what comes first. There's a graph in what we discuss in PgMP that some benefits come immediately, some benefits come after 20 years.
Yes.
So we need to see what benefits come from that, right? And we need to get those benefits. Immediate benefit. Yeah.
So I would like to say that if in the question, if it asks about what is expected from the program directly, and he's talking about the benefits, that you have lost a list of benefits. In the option you have product backlog, user stories, benefit register, and benefits. Go for the benefit register in that case. But if in case he directly tell you about something which has minimum viable product as a keyword, user story as a keyword, agile methodology as a keyword, scrum, any of these techniques that we are discussing in today's class, that in that case, the correct answer of the things that you need from your program would be the product backlog, not the benefit register. Right, Amir? So if in case he's using the terms in the questions which are agile terms, then the answer must also be from the agile term, like product backlog, user stories, to whom he has to ask is a product owner. But on the other case, like all things that we are doing in our mocks and what we have discussed before, if he asks you direct questions, don't get confused with the agile terms. These are only the special questions that will come around 10 to 15, but in the question, the keyword must be some of the agile term, then only go towards this product backlog and the user stories. Otherwise, strict with your benefit register and the benefits.
Okay, one more thing. PMI, those agile questions, what I believe is they are the test questions in the PGMP. Not all questions are marked in your program, in your any of the PMI exam. Some of the questions are test questions. They are looking at it and maybe they incorporate later on. That is basically how the PMI. So what I believe, since Agile, they want to test how program managers like you are answering that, and they are testing those things. So even if you had any challenge, don't put it too much pressure on it. Okay, on Agile, don't give too much value on it as of now. It is okay, but not give too much value to it as compared to other things. Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Sami, you want to continue or you want a 5-minute break?
I think we continue because everybody is fully busy. So
Stamina is slightly different than everyone else. So that's what I'm asking.
So we can ask the participants. But
let's break, or shall I continue? I guess we have 20 more minutes.
Yes.
Continue. Okay. Nobody said break.
And as like a break, as Mr. Amit said, what we are discussing in this 1 hour, that is enough to cover your 10 to 15 questions in the Agile. Don't go to read any other standard or any other thing. That is a crux that we have arranged this master class. What Mr. Amer is covering in the 1 hour is enough for PGMP topic, PGMP exam.
Yeah. I'm not going into details. There are a lot of details.
This is minimum viable product for the PGMP exam.
Yeah, this is the minimum viable product. For example, Vinu recently did PMP with me. He recently did last month. So if you go with him Agile, he will tell you that Agile class is only 4 hours and so many things into that. We are not going into depth. Okay, let's discuss now. Your product backlog is ready. Now you are at the first sprint. You are the first sprint. What we said, what was the length of sprint, Vanita? What was the
2
length?
weeks.
1 to 4 weeks.
It can be 1 to 4 weeks. In the start, product owner will decide, okay, let's make it 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is. So we decide now the length of the sprint will be this thing. Now this will stay same. So we are at sprint 1. Okay. We are at sprint 1. We decided it is 2 weeks. We have a product backlog at our hand. The first ceremony, sprint itself is also called as ceremony. Ceremony means event. The second will be sprint mean iteration, planning. Here, sprint planning. Here we are going to do in the next 2 weeks. What we are going to do in the next 2 weeks, we will plan for that. What we'll do, we'll look at the product backlog and the team will tell, okay, we can complete these many user stories. The number of user stories you can do in the sprint, number of user story you can do, for that we attach each user story effort required to do. Let's say there's a user story A, how much time or effort it will require to complete it. There's a user story A, how much time it will take. We called it story points. 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hours, how much time it will take. Story points to complete that user story. And number of user story you can do in a sprint is called velocity of the sprint. For example, just start giving you a rough idea. Let's say there are 5 team members. Each team member can work 8 hours, making Saturday, Sunday holiday, 8 hours a day. So we have how many hours total we have? We have 40 hours at our hand. So we can maximum take 40 story points. Make sense to everybody? We can maximum take 40 story points, not more than that, right? So we look at the product backlog and we will select the user stories, and we will make sprint backlog. From product backlog, we will get a sprint backlog. Okay. So product backlog, let's say, has all the user stories, etc., etc. It is 15 story point. It is 20 story point. It is 4 story point. It is 15. It is 5, 4. This is the thousands of user stories prioritized. What I will do, I will make a sprint backlog for first sprint. Okay, this is the number 1. I will put it there. This is the number 2. I will put it here. This is the number 3. I'll put it here. I cannot do anyone else. I cannot do anyone else. You can see, I cannot do anyone else, right? 15 plus 20 plus 4 is 39. So I will be able to do 39. This becomes your sprint backlog. What do I mean by that? Sprint backlog is list of user story that you will do in one sprint. That's it. List of user stories that you will do in one sprint. That's it. Clear? Okay. So list of user story you will do in one sprint. Now, once the plan is done, it is shared with the customer. We start working. We have to work 1 to 4 weeks, normally 2 weeks. We will have daily stand-up. What were the 3 questions we asked in daily stand-up? What you did yesterday, what you are going to do today, outlogs improvement, daily, we share progress. Daily stand-up is the third ceremony. The first was sprint planning, then daily stand. So far, are you with me, guys? Okay.
Yes.
Now, in the daily stand-up, when we are reviewing the progress, we may have information radiators. What is information radiators? Guys, everywhere in the world, we see information radiator. The billboard that you see commercial or billboard, buy this pizza, buy this KFC, etc. That's information. Anything that radiate information is an information radiators. In your projects, you use task board like information radiator, something like that. How much you have done. Status board, you can, some organization called it status board. That is your information radiator. Information radiator. Or some organization uses burn up, burn down chart. Burn down chart shows how much work is remaining, right? And burn up chart will shows how much work you have done. For example, what is burn up, burn down chart? Now Malik will be thinking how much of my application is remaining. I already wrote it. Samir reviewed it. Now how much, when I can submit it? Burn down.
Yes.
Right? Maybe Vinu is thinking, okay, how much PgMP is done? Okay, how much PgMP is done? Burn up. You can use any of them. Down mean remaining. It's like when you are coming from the hill, you are looking downside. When I will reach downside, and when you are going up, how much is done? How much is done? We are looking. It's the same thing. You can use anything. So these are the information radiators. We use information radiator to quickly see the information, right? So we don't use much documentation in Agile. So we will use task board just to show the status so everybody is clear about it, right? Task board, Kanban board are the information radiators which actually we discuss. And that's how we track in Agile, which issues have been solved, which issues have not been solved. Okay. So now, once the sprint is over, what do I mean by that? Once your time is done, okay, then the sprint is over. Sprint is done. Okay. After 2 weeks, the sprint is over. Let's say we start on 1st of May, on 14th of May, my sprint is done. So what we will do? Now we will have a sprint review session. Sprint review session. What do I mean by sprint review? In sprint review, basically, we will do two things. One thing we will do, we will review with the client what has been accepted, what has been rejected, what is not completed, what is completed. Secondly, we will reprioritize for the next. So let's first talk about the first thing in sprint review. Sprint review consists of two parts. Demo. The first part is demo. After 2 weeks, I'm going to use a different color just to give you a context of it. Sprint review. You have demo. In demo, only those user story which has been completed, you show to the customer. If the customer says it is accepted, it goes into a document that is called product increment. Whatever get accepted goes into product increment. Whatever is rejected or it is not completed, it goes back to product back. This is the important thing. It goes back to product backlog. Okay, product backlog. Every sprint will has new sprint backlog. Once sprint is over, the sprint backlog is done. Accepted goes to product increment, rejected goes to product backlog. That is demo. What happened in demo? The client check it, accept it or reject it. Okay. Now sprint review has second part that is called backlog refinement. The second part of sprint review is backlog refinement. Here, the product backlog, which you have now with the rejected user story, incomplete user story, previous user story. If client has any new requirement, this is the best time they can give you new requirement. All those user stories are there. you will reprioritize it. This is called grooming or refinement of product backlog. Grooming or refinement of product backlog. So sprint review has two parts: demo, where the customer accept, whatever get accepted goes into product increment, whatever get rejected goes into product backlog. Okay. Then in refinement or grooming of the product backlog, we will reprioritize the product backlog. Now we discuss sprint planning, daily stand-up, sprint review, which has two parts. The last ceremony, it is sometimes considered as a part of sprint review, but I like to put it aside because this is only for the team. It is called as sprint retrospective. Sprint retrospective. We discussed it before. What does retrospective mean? Retrospective is a lesson learned meeting. Lesson learned meeting. Okay. So what we will do? We will have a sprint retrospective. It is a lesson learned meeting. Here you will identify improvements for the next sprint. It consists of 5 steps, but for now, that is important. You already have a lot of data. So maybe as we move forward, I will add it with you. Sprint retrospective is a lesson learned. You identify improvement, what improvements are, and you make sure you implement in the next sprint. So one more time, if we look into that, sprint consists of 5 steps. First, once you have decided the length of the sprint, you make in sprint planning, sprint backlog, subset of product backlog. Then we have daily stand-up, 15-minute, same time, same location. We ask 3 questions: what we can do, how any problem there, what you have done yesterday, what you are going to do today. We will discuss this information radiator, task board, burn up, burn down chart. Then once the sprint is over, we have sprint review, which consists of 2 parts: demo as well as product backlog refinement, then retrospect. I'll show you one video, and that video will basically summarize most of the things that we have discussed as of
The word iterate.
now. Okay, so just give me 1 second.
Amer, before we move forward, what is backlog review? Where we do the backlog review?
Sprint review is basically sprint review consists of 2 parts. The first part is basically demo, and the second is backlog review, is the refinement of the product backlog.
So product backlog refinement means backlog review, in which we are reprioritizing the product backlog.
Product backlog.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do let me know if you can hear the sound of the video. Okay.
It comes from the Latin iterare. The word iterate. It comes from the Latin iterare, meaning to repeat. Thus, an iterative way of working repeats itself over and over, optimizing itself each time it does. In an iterative process, work flows into the product backlog from minimum business increments and from the release roadmap. The product backlog is where the team collects all the work flowing to the team. The product owner prioritizes the product backlog, signaling to the team what work is the most important. At the start of each iteration, the team pulls the work they plan to do from the product backlog into the iteration backlog. This is a key point. The team pulls the amount of work it thinks it can get done during the iteration, not the product owner, team manager, or stakeholders. The iteration is the time box around the team's work. The team starts with the iteration planning and ends with the iteration review. Agile teams usually choose between an iteration length of 1 to 4 weeks, with 2 weeks being the most common choice. Regularly, the team meets for a coordination meeting, also called a stand-up or scrum. The stand-up helps the team coordinate and work in a quick and informal way. The iteration review ends the iteration. This review has 2 parts. It reviews the product and solution built in the iteration and the process. how the team worked together, and what got in their way. In the demo, the team showcases what they accomplished in the iteration. The demo focuses on value delivered and feedback from stakeholders. In the retrospective, the team takes time away from their busy schedule to reflect on how they worked together in the iteration. What aspects made them go faster and be successful? What aspects got in their way of reaching their goals? The team looks both internally, inside the team, and externally, outside the team. The team also lays out a plan to fix some of the points that got in their way during the next iteration. When an iteration is complete, we go back and start over with the iteration planning and pulling work from product backlog into the iteration backlog during the next planning. The Agile iterative process contains a series of artifacts and ceremonies. Artifacts are the objects produced within an iteration. Ceremonies are activities that take place during an iteration. For example, the product backlog is an artifact. It's the complete list of work required to create the product. It collects all the work flowing to the team. The iteration backlog is another artifact. That's the list of work to be completed in the current iteration, and it's supposed to be done in the order determined by the team. There are a couple more artifacts that aren't shown on our diagram. User stories capture a description of a feature from an end-user perspective. A user story describes the type of user, what they want, and why. A burn-down chart is a graphic representation of how quickly the team is working through user stories.
So this is basically a summary of that, how things are moving and what is basically Agile for you. Okay, so this is key point of Agile. Okay, that you need to know about PgMP. I guess that covers the most of things. And along the way, as we move forward, if anything comes up that are coming in the exam, for sure, we will be adding towards that thing, because we are in Agile. That is a progressive way to work in towards. Any question in Agile? I'll come to that. Any question in Agile? By anyone? Okay. One more thing that I would like to share here is basically different type of leadership styles. Different type of leadership styles. You see, there are different type of leaderships, but PMI actually recommend servant leader. And you will understand the servant leader with a classical example. I'll have to use example of a parent, a mother, or a father. How do you basically operate with your children? Let's say you have a 2-year or 3-year-old. If he or she is going on stress, you don't exactly stop them, but you stand behind them. If they are going to fall down, you immediately pick them, dust them off, and ask them, climb again. What are you doing here? You are training them to be self-reliant. You are training them to handle risk. You are giving them an environment where they can make mistakes, but they don't have to learn hard. Right? It's the same example like how do you learn how to bicycle? It is said if you don't fall from the bicycle, you never learn how to do it. But that's why in the start, we have training wheels there. And the parent is like, for example, right now my daughter, she is learning how to ride. The training wheels are there. She's learning it. I will remove one. I'm there to make sure they understand. Servant leadership mentality is the cornerstone of the entire new management when you are dealing with the high professionals. You need to understand their needs, their motivation, what they motivate them. Provide them the training, identify training requirement, provide them the training, but make sure the training is provided. Please don't confuse servant leadership with less is fire. What is less is fire? It's a type of leadership where the leader is absent, like an absent father who's never there. The team is responsible for themselves. If they make mistake, they learn themselves. They have nobody there. That is less is fire. It is a leadership style that is used when the team is 100% equipped. Once they know how to do that, right? If the team is very good, You don't need to continuously monitor them. You don't need to work with them. For example, when Mr. Sami started like 1.5 years back with PgMP, we daily used to have conversation. Now I don't even check the status of any student. I know that they are on track. Now that is less is fine. Okay, but it is different from servant leadership. Sometimes a leader is so charismatic that actually the team is driving because of his personality. This is called a charismatic leadership style. A team is not being developed, it is being moved because of that. I would like to say that one man show. You see that a lot in politics. You see a lot in sports, right? If Ronaldo or Messi is playing, even other players are good, but they are charismatic. We are focused on them, that they are the leadership there, right? Now it has advantage and disadvantage. PMI called it Superman style, one man show, right? Charismatic leadership helps you to take away from the advantage. You trust on him or her. But there's a disadvantage. If the leader is absent, the team is not equipped. After servant leader, I like transformational leadership style. Transformational leader is somebody, I would say that Mr. Sami is among one of them, who take the team member, he train them, and in the journey, he transform them into better leaders themselves. Transformation. So the entire team is improved. It is very near to servant leadership. But here he is working very hard with the team all that. Okay, these are some of the leadership style you may see in the exam. But please understand, the most important thing is that all the leaderships actually fall under situational leadership. Depending upon the situation, your leadership style is different. Depending upon the situation, you may be a servant leader, you may be a less is fire, transformative, charismatic, and sometime, very rare, autocratic leadership. That is dictatorship. Now, you may call why that is needed when the team arrives at the project. When the team arrives, like at the start of the program, you don't want everybody's opinion. Let's do it that way. They don't even know. You are the person who knows. So you need to set the tone. You need to make some ground rules to be followed. How things are expected and how things will not be tolerated, right? So they called it autocratic dictatorship, but I read from one author, the police and court, the judge and jury, you need to become that sometime. Make sure you set the tone right. So this falls under situational leadership, right? So depending upon where the team is, you need to work it. Anything else, Mr. Sami, that is not covered?
So from the leadership style, they will give the scenario that if the leader is not present there and the team is working by themselves, then less is fair is the answer. It means.
Less is far is the answer. Less is far is the answer.
Okay. And resource prioritization in terms of agile prioritization
Resource
dependency.
prioritized on the basis of value. In Agile, everything will be used by prioritizing according to the product backlog. A resource will be prioritized depending upon the value. Okay, and very important concept. You also listen to the video. Resource select the work themselves. Nobody give them the work. You don't say in Agile, hey, Azim, you do this, Sami, you do this, Malik, you do that. No. Resource says, I'm expert of this. This is called T-type leader. That these people are the experts of their domain. They decide stuff. And that is the most counter thing with predictive. Because in predictive, we say that I am going to give them task. In Agile, we say individual and interaction over processes it. Okay, they decide which thing they are expert. G.
And in terms of governance, if we are saying that during the whole program, we are doing monitoring and controlling activities like governance framework. Okay, in terms of agile, this is also governance or this is how we are tracking the progress? Which document is
Yeah, We are tracking the progress through sprint review. Na? We have a
Okay.
sprint review to release review. That is the why, because in Agile, actually, we are doing more governance as compared to phase gate. We are having a daily stand up. The information radiator is there. We can look at the progress there, and we are reviewing those things. So that is actually more governance in Agile. Okay.
Clear. Clear.
Yeah. G. Anyone else? Anyone has any confusion?
Mr. Azim, any other question that was in the exam and we didn't cover any key term?
I think they are covered all, even more than that.
Because we are covered from Mr. Pradeep and Nasir also gave us the feedback. The good thing is
Yeah,
that
it's more
three
than
other students also gave us the feedback that we already covered. I think that is enough. The students who are doing the exam in the coming weeks, this is minimum viable product for you to attend 10 to 15 questions.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't need to worry that much about Agile because, as I said, I believe as of now, at least for next 3 months, Agile is more of towards those questions, which is more of a demo questions. But knowing them never hurts, especially when you're a program manager, you manage anything because Agile is becoming the part and with the AI coming, right? With the AI everywhere, Agile is there. I don't think so. Any program manager should be who does not use Chat GPT or Bard. I was using 2 days back Meta AI. If you haven't used it, do try it. It is even better than Chat GPT. I actually liked it. The answers it is giving, it is sometimes better than Chat GPT. So maybe trying different AI will help you also. This is an important thing. But for those who haven't written the application, I guess all of them has. Yeah, and Firoz has done the application.
Yes, yes. Mr.
Yeah,
Firoz
Firoz
already. Only
already.
we will submit today, Mr. Malik, as we were discussing with you before. So that's all.
Yeah. For those who watch later on, when you are writing down the application, don't use ChatGPT because they will immediately and you see if you use LinkedIn or any other material, whenever you look at the somebody use ChatGPT or post within 2 lines you can read it if you use it.
Even Amer, just
So
for the information, among one of the students here, I was reviewing the application. I read first paragraph. In second paragraph, I said, this line you copied from ChatGPT. So first he was quiet. Then he said, how you recognize? I said that we are reviewing every day 2 or 3 applications. Immediately we can see what is coming from the human mind, what is coming from AI. So this is very easy to pick from the PMI expert. I think this is very clear.
yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I enjoyed having a session with you, all of you. And Mr. Samit set it to try to make it 1 hour, not more than that. I hope we have covered almost
Thank you
in
very much.
10, 15 minutes. If you have any other question, feel free to ask me anytime. Plus, those people who recently did PMP, like Vinu, if anyone has agile question, more proactive to them. And let's keep moving forward. I always end my session with saying, Assalamu alaikum, namaste, sat sri akal, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.